The FDA is warning consumers to stop using more than 24 over-the-counter eye drop products, including from store brands like Target and CVS, due to the potential risk of an eye infection that could lead to vision loss. So Jacksonville optometrist Dr. Guier joins us this morning to help explain what you need to know to protect your vision. So first off, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
So we know the FDA has issued an urgent alert about using more than 24 brands of eye drops. So Dr. Guier, can you explain really what that what that really means for the public?
It's been a busy year for the FDA. My colleagues and I are speaking more about eye drops now than we ever have. At the end of last month, they identified more than 24 eye drops that are over-the-counter lubricants for people who have irritated and uncomfortable eyes. These are commonly used by as many as 1/3 of all Americans on a fairly regular basis. So when we buy eye drops, we're expecting that they will do exactly what we want them to do, make our eyes look and feel better. What we're not expecting is to have them cause significant problems for us. The eye drops that were recalled because there was some potential for contamination. So people may be putting something in their eye that may cause an infection. As you said, they've been available at places like CVS, Rite Aid, Walmart, and Walgreens. So it's pretty important that we identify who has what of those eye drops are out there and making certain that they get rid of them straight away before they cause any problems. The FDA has an exhaustive list of which eye drops were included with the recall, so I'd advise that anybody take a look at the FDA website to see if they have anything that's in their medicine cabinet that may have been recalled. I think that the stores have by now, we should be sure that they have taken those off the shelves, so that won't be something that they can obtain now at the store.
Wow, so this applies to people who also wear contacts.
Absolutely. If somebody's eyes are uncomfortable, one of our first lines of treatment is to add additional ophthalmic lubrication. That helps the eyes become much more comfortable, and oftentimes if their eyes are red, a comfortable eye is less likely to be red.
And we know this is actually the second time this year the FDA has issued an alert about eye drops. What can you tell us about the first case?
The first one was very worrisome. Earlier this year, at the very beginning of the year, there were some very serious infections affecting up to more than 80 people across 18 states. So this was a national so-called epidemic of a very severe infection that caused significant vision loss. It was an aggressive bacteria that was not responsive to any of our topical antibiotic therapy. So very worried that we couldn't stop that. When they looked from the 18 different states, from California all the way to Florida, they found a common strain with that bacteria. And that led them to discover that there were 2 eye drops that were the source of this contamination. These were 2 eye drops that were widely available in over-the-counter settings in some of the retail markets that we had just discussed. Those were immediately taken off the market and no longer available unless they make big changes. Again, when we buy an eye drop that's supposed to make us look and feel better, we certainly hope that we're not doing anything that could cause bigger problems.
Right, and I know a lot of us, we kind of start to ignore symptoms. And I know you said to be mindful of itchy eyes if you still feel that discomfort, but how should you know when something just isn't right?
Well, you know when something is right. When your eyes are comfortable and clear, you know it's right. So I always say, when somebody comes in and says, my eyes don't feel right, they don't look right, I'm listening for a couple of things. I call it RSVP. I'm listening, number one, are your eyes red? Are they more red than they should be? Are they sensitive to light? Is your vision diminished or blurred? And do you have any eye pain? Any of those or any combination of those could mean that there's an infection. Additionally, a secretion. Some people will say, I wake up in the morning and I've got a little sticky in the corner of my eye. And that may be okay if it's in the morning, but if you have a thick secretion coming from either or both eyes throughout the day, that could mean you have an infection. And lastly, tearing, and lots of tearing. Not just my eyes tear a little bit, but tears that may be running and not stopping may mean that you have an infection. So if you have any of those symptoms, you should request an urgent appointment with your eye doctor and make certain that it's not an infection. If it is an infection, you need to initiate treatment right away. Additionally, if it's related to any of these potential eye drops, that needs to be reported to the FDA. They have a link on their website, report any associated side effects here. If you go in to see your eye doctor and you think you've had an infection, bring with you any eye drops you might be using, any contact lenses, contact lens cases, or even things like eye makeups. Those can be common sources of eye infections.
Wow, such incredible, important information. Thank you so much, Dr. Guier, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.